I think we're going. Ooh. Okay. So
We need like some entrance music for this. Some some upbeat, you know, 80s corny music to open everything up with. A montage or something like to open it up with.
yeah, that would be neat. I should look into that for next
I mean,
time.
I can give you some links. I mean, God, looking at like maybe $50 come up with a song. It's
Hmm.
that, maybe not even that much. Come up with a song.
Well,
Little
let's.
catchy jingle.
Oh, hello to everyone. This is our very belated Halloween cast, set back by many different issues, but I probably should have seen that coming because that's just how life is.
Oh
Uh,
well, it happens. We're doing it now, so it'll be fine.
yep, and uh, so it's not too. It's never too late to be spooky.
So, some people are spooky all around year. Some people are spooky without even trying to be spooky. They're just naturally born that way. We got to work at it though.
Yeah. Uh, so personal. For Halloween this year, I didn't do too much. Uh, I watched, or I can't even remember what day it was on, but there was a live show on the Shutter that I watched. Uh, but on the 31st, also the first official episode of Hell of a Boss came out.
Yeah, this Halloween, this Halloween actually sucks compared to all the other ones because I mean, COVID is a thing, so like you can't just go trick or treating, and half the parents don't even want their kids going trick or treating because they don't trust anybody. Like, dude, I remember going to haunted houses and all that when I was a kid. Like, I still want to do that. As soon as this COVID stuff's up, I don't even care what time of year it is. I want to go to a haunted house, like all the other shit. Dress up, wear a costume, work.
So I've always loved the idea of haunted houses, but I'm always freaking myself out because I'm like, ah, I jump at horror games, but like I can turn off a game.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. To me, I've like I've walked through freaking haunted houses before, and like I've been fine with it. Like like since I was a kid, you know. The last one I went through, I remember me and this guy. We went into a room, right, and it was supposed to be like a clown was gonna come out and just gonna make you scared. And we just stood there for a minute, and I took a step to the left. He took a step to the left, like trying to mess with me and everything. I took a step to the right, and he did the same thing. And then like I started turning and everything, and then like we were like for like a solid minute, we were just like shuffling around the room, and I was like, "We're dancing! Look at us! We're so pretty together!"
So
Like he had the mask on, but you could tell like he was trying not to laugh.
yeah,
I was like, "It's okay, you can laugh. I think this is funny.
yeah.
It's consensual too, so I'm all right with it."
All right, I'm here. I wish I could retry that. Okay, I'm here.
Hello, Aqua.
Hello.
So oh gosh, um, I think Halloween. So for haunted house, at least St. Louis has like a really great one. And for some reason it is escaping my mind right now. But they have like people from Hollywood that create it. The Darkness, that's what it's called. They like, because a lot of people, when CGI started like really catching on in Hollywood, a lot of like practical effects people lost jobs.
Yeah, that kind of sucked too, because practical effects.
Huh. Oh, dang. Okay, Aqua. Bye.
I think it was like 3 stars or some shit. I gotta find that movie. It's way too damn good. Pass up. There's another one that I really like called Grave Encounters. You ever heard of it?
I have not.
Dude, Grave Encounters and Grave Encounters 2. Like, I'm so glad there's not a Grave Encounters 3 because they probably would have fucked it up. Like, the first one, it's so great. It's about a freaking ghost hunting team, right? For once, this shit actually does hit the fan, like 100%. Like, they go into an old insane asylum, they start fucking with people, and then surprise, surprise, the ghosts don't really like being fucked with. So then they start fucking with the team like super hard, and eventually they start killing them. And like, I know it sounds like I've said too much, but dude, that game, like that movie was actually scary. And then like its sequel is actually more scary. Like, you do all kinds of like cliches from horror movie stuff. They do it right, and it's all found footage. So you're seeing it kind of from a new angle. Like the old, well, I don't want to cover that part, but yeah, there's like a lot of old cliches that normally in movies are dry and stale. The way they did it, and the fact that they did it in like found footage style, is fucking awesome.
Wow, that sounds great.
Yeah, Grave Encounters and Grave Encounters 2, and I think they're rated like 3 or 4 stars on Amazon. So like, it's a good movie. It's just like it never made it to light.
Dang.
Good ass movie. I was watching.
So, is that the image of the thing you saw? I put it in the chat.
Image of Hell House?
Yeah.
I really don't remember. It looks like it might be the cover, but I don't think it had any red on it. It might have been like an alternate, picture, make it look different or something. I know sometimes movies will do that.
Yeah.
They'll use like an alternate thumbnail,
Yeah. So this, yeah, it's a great movie. I'd highly recommend it to anyone watching this.
Yes.
And the second one is like, if you want to know like the immediate aftermath of the first one.
Oh.
And like how because like stuff happens obviously, but like the aftermath is like essentially how the news told the story of what happened and how the public responded to it. And different stuff, and like investigators going to look into it is the second movie. The third one is like, okay, we're just going to tell you exactly, we're going to hold your hand through the plot, we're going to tell you exactly what happened through the first 2 movies so you no longer have to guess, and we're going to use really crappy CGI.
Oh, so by the sound of it, they didn't ever like have an actual ongoing continual story to it. They just beat the shit out of the same concept until it was boring instead of like growing it and adding on to it.
Well,
I mean,
the second one grew and added on to it. It has a whole new cast of characters and all that different stuff. And you're like, it's
you said it
slow.
was
It
essentially the same.
what?
You said it was essentially the same story from a different angle, right?
Well, it's like a follow up. So like there's still a lot of unanswered questions when the first movie ends. And the second movie is investigators trying to answer these unanswered questions.
Oh.
But it's like it's done really well for a sequel. Still not as good as the first one, but I'd say it's still worth a watch. And the third one is not worth anything. It's not even worth the over an hour I wasted of my life watching it.
Yeah, I feel that. Like, I've been trying to watch, like, branch out and watch like different types of movies. By the way, there are a lot of Korean movies that are really good, like horror movies that are really good. Nah, yeah, I've been trying to branch out and like give some of these 3-star movies a try. Man, my God, I have seen a lot of crappy movies in the last 2 weeks. Are movies that like I just had to stop right in the middle of it, like be like, I paid money to see this. I paid $3, and I feel like I got cheated.
Ugh.
I paid $1. One of them I paid a straight $1, and I didn't even make it all the way through. I just stopped watching it.
I hate those type of movies. So, okay, so
much because they obviously tried. They wanted to make a movie. They tried to some extent, and it just didn't fucking work or something.
right. So I watch a channel. There's a YouTube channel called Pretty Much It. They do like commentary tracks for movies and stuff. They're pretty funny, and they put like the highlights of some of their tracks on YouTube. But one of them says like, I think during they did a full watch through the whole Paranormal Activity series. And like around Paranormal Activity 4 or 5 or something, they're like, or he might not have said it in that video, but essentially he's putting across the same point. The worst possible thing a movie can do is be boring.
Yeah.
Like, a bad movie doesn't necessarily mean it's a boring movie. Like, it can be bad, but have entertainment value.
Yeah.
But a movie that is boring is one that you can't stand sitting through because you're just that uninterested in what's happening.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like, I see your point, but like, there's a lot of people who watch Transformers, I don't know, 7 or 8, whatever they're on, or Fast and Furious, whatever number they're on, and they're just like, man, I can't stand this anymore. Like, it's entertaining, but I feel like I'm watching the same movie, and they're just like, whatever, I'm out. They're not bored. They just don't want to see it anymore. Now, this is the same level of action I'm getting, but it's the exact same action that I'm getting. I feel like I could be watching the other movie now.
Right, and I think one of the main points they're making on the people I was watching, they're making is like, especially for commentary stuff. Even if it's a series of movie that's like the same thing over and over, you can still like talk about things that are happening. But if it's boring, like, you can't even talk about the movie if it's boring, because like, what are you gonna say? I mean, it's just boring. There's like nothing. There's like not much even to poke fun at.
Oh, trust me. Like, and this is really something like what I was wanting to do, or what I was talking to you about a while back. Is that like some groups out there, they don't watch the movie like on screen, but they'll talk about it afterward. And like, I found that like even if the movie is god awful, like sometimes it's fun just to sit through it anyways, just because you're gonna get a lot of material so that you can talk 9 kinds of shit about this movie. Like,
Right.
I know, like sometimes a movie's so bad that it's just fun to sit through because of how awful it is. Like I've actually had a few that were like that too over the last couple weeks. Like there was one death. Somebody got stabbed or something like in a weird way, and like it was gory as shit. I think it had their brain on the end of their hand or something. Like there was like some long fingers and they stabbed them, and then the brain was just on the end of the hand. And I was just like, it just poked their head and the whole brain came out. I'm sure that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Like that just made me laugh so fucking hard. Like I was already out of the scene, or I was already like out of the movie, but that like took me from out of the movie to like back into the movie because it was so bad. I was like actually enjoying myself laughing at it.
Yeah. I so my favorite uh horror franchise of all time is Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh
And
yeah.
it starts to just get to like and I find this kind of happens with any like with a slasher movie. If you're gonna let your killer talk throughout the franchise, they're gonna like be far less serious the later you get.
Mm-hmm. True.
Freddy turns into like he's pretty comedic as it goes on.
Yeah.
Uh and but like I feel like that's the only natural progression you can do with a slasher series.
Actually, like it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. Because like on one side, consistency is good. Like, and again, we keep going back to the Paranormal Activity movies, but like with Toby, who was the antagonist in all of the movies, uh, he never spoke, and we never saw him. But
You see him in the
uh,
last one,
yeah, the one
the Ghost
dimension
Dimension.
or whatever. Yeah, the ghost dimension. You actually see him, and you see him in 3 as well, like to a degree. And
Yeah,
like every time they get more and more intimate, they show you more and more of him. Like he just becomes more human at that point. Like he's less of this malevolent being, and he's more of just something that is human and can probably be killed with shotgun or something. You know.
yeah. Okay,
Uh,
Ghost Dimension was pretty garbage though.
yeah.
It was hot, hot mess.
Again, I actually like Ghost Dimension too. Like just because I thought it was interesting what they did with it. I don't think it's like I don't put it in my range of good movies or anything like that, or something that's actually going to scare you. But as far as like with the camera and like all the little fancy bullshit that they had inside of it, and the whole seeing ghosts and that whole like you'd walk through the house, like I'd actually never seen that done before in a movie. Like
Right,
like you could actually see the ghost and like he was moving around, like we were kind of getting an idea of what a ghost looks like if you were to actually be able to see him. And then like
right.
that, like there was like there was actually one part that was kind of it wasn't scary, but it was fan service. And like they'd always talked about he stood at the end of the beds and all that stuff, and then they had the fancy camera that could see ghosts, and like there he was actually standing at the end of the bed, and it was like that's what he looks like. And just seeing that as a kid, I would shit my pants. Like it wasn't scary on screen, but in my house, yeah, that'd be scary as shit. You know?
Yeah, it has the same kind of concept. Like, so I'd heard of the concept of spirit cameras before, and I actually just had to look up the name of the game. It's a Fatal Frame series.
Oh yeah.
Japanese game series used very
I've heard of that.
that's where I was introduced to it.
A Japanese girl and you run around with a camera gun shooting ghosts.
Yeah. But I think with in terms of Paranormal Activity, I think the most interesting like uh in a like I guess ways they took the series was probably the marked ones. It's like following like a Latino family.
Yeah, and they actually tied in the first movie too with that one.
That was
Like,
crazy.
yeah, like they did a good turn with that one. But like I said, I've actually never had a problem with those movies. Like they're not particularly scary. The first one was kind of creepy. Second one wasn't too bad. But like as far as scares go, they've always been kind of lacking. Um, but honestly, like it's been hard to find any scary movies that actually get me anymore. You know, like dude, scary. Like you said, Nightmare on Elm Street is your like scaring source and everything. Like
Well, I wouldn't
I
say
whenever I
scaring at this point. It was terrifying the first time I saw it.
well,
Um,
yeah, it always is.
but
Yeah,
I love the series for what it brought to the table. It like fundamentally changed a lot of the slasher genre. Like it brought something new to a genre people thought was kind of not had anything that you could do with it,
yeah.
and it was made by Wes Craven, my absolute all-time favorite horror director, stars my favorite horror actor, Robert Englund. Like it just had everything going for it. And it was just done so well. And then it just kind of turns into a roller coaster as the franchise progresses.
Yeah. I like at least for me, like it's not even in the, the movie genre that like I actually get scared of movies and stuff. Like unless I'm just like when I was a child, like I had a couple of them that creeped me out. Like like my first scary game was Doom 3. My cousin let me borrow it and I had like I don't even I think it was like an old Windows 95 that could like barely run the game. And like I remember playing that freaking 7 years old by myself. The lights are off, and I'm playing it in a room all by myself. That was scary as shit. And like, I remember getting so scared I actually forgot the buttons of the game, like how to control the game. So I was just like finger tapping the keyboard, trying to remember which button did what while I was getting my ass kicked by some monsters. Like after that, like movies, video games, like everything just kind of went stale. And the Fear series, that kind of ruined me for all kinds of like horror genres. Like I can get a little creeped out, but I'm not gonna get like, oh shoot, like that old school like shit your pants scary.
Yeah, I think I I enjoy I think I get the most enjoyment from horror stuff when I'm experiencing it with someone else. Uh I don't know. I think movies are I find it hard to find movies that are actually like will scare me as much.
Yeah.
Um which is why Hell House was such a pleasant surprise for me because I was like that's oh my gosh. Um I mean, I'm usually not good with, like cuz like usually found footage does a lot of leaning on jump scares
Yeah.
in a lot of places, but Hell House like it does a lot of stuff right. It gets psychological horror. It does like jump scares, but like it does it like I don't think jump scares are all necessarily a bad thing.
I'm not.
A lot of
Like
people
amusing,
just
right?
crap on jump scares. They're like, "Oh, it's jump scare. It's not scary. It's startling." Well, I think a good jump scare has a good build up to it. Um and sometimes like a lot of a lot of good ones something that found its is like seen a lot in slasher movies as like uh is the fake jump scare.
Yeah.
those are the ones that get you because it does a good job of building up the tension. You know something's gonna happen, and you figure that like it's it's happening really soon. It's happening really soon, and then there's like a small little like startle, like a cat jumps out of like a cabinet or something or whatever, and that kind of releases the tension in the audience
Yeah.
because you're like, okay, that's what it was building up to. I can let my guard down,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
then you hit them with the actual scare.
Yeah. As far as jump scares go, well, I just had a total brain fart. I was having to look at something. Kind of moot on as far as like jump scares go, like as far as whether they're scary or not. I've had like maybe one or two that were like a little startling, but I've had nothing that like made me like really jump hard. Um, Again, like Grave Encounters, they do jump scares, but like probably one or two of them. It's like their idea of horror is literally just old school, straight. The monster's there. You kind of let the monster feed off the environment a little bit, and then they just go all out, like insane with it, to scare the hell out of you. And it works because they go all out with it. Like some of my favorite types of scares, like now, is whenever like you know dude will be at the house and he's making popcorn or some shit, and it's not building up to anything. There's no music going on. There's nothing like when this happening to let you know that there's no cues or anything, but there's something going on. And like he'll be walking out of the room or something, and then you see like the villain or the monster or the ghost or whatever like in the hallway. He doesn't see it, and if you're not paying attention, you won't even see it. Just love that.
Oh yeah,
Like sometimes you see it, and then in the second plate or the second time you watch it, you might not see it until you see it then. And then like it's a jump scare that you weren't even ready for because you thought you knew all the jump scares,
Oh yeah,
I love it when they do that.
yeah, I think I've watched a lot of so like throughout my life, there was like a period in the end of when I was like 8th grade through like second year high school, third year, where I was like super into horror. Like I'm like I still like it a lot, but like I was like I was pirating horror movies because I knew my parents weren't gonna let me rent them or anything.
Yeah.
And nowadays, like when I watch horror, I think like because of that and because of like how much more interested into the community and stuff I've gotten, and um I have I feel like it's kind of like I'm a detective when I watch a horror movie. Like I can recognize certain camera movements and like certain framing shots that a lot of horror movies do, that it's like, okay, usually throughout the movie when we're following a character and it's like and there's like a corner coming up or anything, so far in the movie it's just kind of been a normal like shot like going next to them or anything or something. But for some reason in this scene they chose to do a close, they chose to like pull in really close to the character's face so the camera can't see around the corner either.
Yeah.
So it's like I've started noticing these framing devices, and that gets me even more tense because I'm like, now I know like they must be building up to something, or it's like getting me paranoid. Like they're pulling all these tricks with the camera that I know are usually used to conceal something, and I can't tell what it is. Or they have the character and it's kind of a close up on their face, and usually on those shots like the character's face is in the center, but in this shot it's it's offset to the side and the background is still in focus.
Yeah.
It's like so I like become a detective. I'm like, what does the shot mean? What are they about to do? They're doing something, I can tell. Like, someone's about, like, oh gosh. And it gets me so paranoid that I get myself worked up, and all they're doing, and like, they don't even have to do that much because of, like, I've gotten so used to like being able to like call that something's about to happen.
Yeah. I've, I'm kind of like that, especially with voice acting and everything. Like, because I listen to more movies than I actually watch. 'Cause I'll just be working on the computer and I'll have a movie going on in the background, but then I'll like focus super hard in on that movie. Even though I'm not watching it, I'm listening to everything they're saying, like how they're saying it, and it's weird. But a lot of like crappy movies are much more interesting when you can't watch the movie because I guess you can't see all the crap that's happening on the screen. Instead, you can just hear their reactions to what's going on, or the buildup is actually good. Just the movie sucked, or the characters, the actors who know what they're doing. It's just the movie sucked.
Yeah.
Like they know what they're doing. They can build up the suspense, and they can get you a little bit interested. You know,
Yeah.
so sometimes like, and like that's kind of why I've become like kind of not super attuned, but more attuned to voice acting and like getting the inflections right and all that crap. Like partly why like I'm going so far back and forth on this voice acting with my game. It's because like I'm so attuned to like voice acting, like how I want it to sound. Like I go back and forth. Like I've been going back and forth on this as to whether I actually want voice acting or not in my game. Just for that reason.
Yeah. It it's it can be tough when you're trying to do something, like you're trying to create something, you've got like an idea in your head versus reality.
Yeah. Um. Okay. I gotta go. I gotta go. They got some shit going on right now.
Okay,
All right. See you later, man.
see ya. Okay, so I don't really want to end off without addressing some things. uh I'd like to say that this whole thing with the Halloween cast getting pushed back and pushed back, it's I I don't know. I should have worked better to get it going. Um and I think I I don't know. I want to be able to do this more regularly. So I want to have a set time to do it. And it's kind of hard to get everyone uh onto a set time. Uh and I don't know. Um so my biggest problem is finding times for everyone to do stuff, but I think I do want to I I want to continue this. And I want to thank everyone that's been watching. Uh I know it's a mess a lot of the time, but it it's really great for you guys to still watch. Um So I had actually a lot of different things I had been wanting to do with this specific this Halloween podcast that we obviously didn't do. I wanted to have some like images, maybe have some music, but I kind of dropped the ball, and I feel personally responsible for a lot of the problems that this podcast has had in the background. So, thank you for sticking with us if you still are. It really means a lot that people are actually watching or listening to these. And I just hope that you'll stick with us. I hope you had a good Halloween. I hope you got to do everything you were able to do. Be it watching movies with friends, or friends and family, or not, whether it was go trick-or-treating, whether it was go to a haunted house. I hope you were able to do all that. And I hope you were able to enjoy it. This year has been nuts for a lot of people. Most everyone. And I really didn't have this little spiel at the end planned. You can probably tell. But a lot of stuff has happened, and a lot of people are out there doing their best right now. And I think it's important to remember that as bad as things have gotten, things could be a whole lot worse. So I think we should all recognize how lucky we are. I mean, you're watching or listening to this, so you're lucky enough to have internet access. And I feel very lucky to live in the United States. And I think wherever you live, you should feel lucky to, be alive. And wherever you live, I hope you have a good quality of life. There's been so much this year. A pandemic, a United States presidential election, riots, protests, And it seems like there's no end in sight for a lot of things. And that can be scary. Scarier than any horror movie or any Halloween spooky house. We can get through it. And that's what's important. It's important to remember that as much crud has been thrown at humanity this year, we're still here. You're still here. I'm still here. There's much that will be happening in the future that maybe we're not looking forward to. But I think you should take each day as it comes. Sure, it's okay to feel worry about the future. I'm scared of what's to come, but don't let that worry engulf you. Don't let that worry take over your life. Appreciate what you have. Thank you for listening, for subscribing, and for that one person who liked this already. I guess don't forget to hit the bell. I know after that whole entire little chat I just did there, that whole talk right there, it feels weird, but it really does matter a lot, and it's really encouraging to see like new subscribers coming on, and subscribing to the channel. I with all the scary things in movies and games and other media, and like in reality, like one of the scariest things that I ever did was actually go forward with starting a podcast. It was terrifying, and it still is to an extent every time I get on. And that's kind of why I needed to have other people do it with me. And to see that people actually do watch and do listen and leave comments and leave likes, it's really encouraging. My life is kind of unpredictable when I'm able to do things, and usually it's only on the weekend I'd be able to do these streams. So, thank you. And please share these casts with people who you think would like it. And if you get anything out of these, I hope it's that, you know, besides hearing people's opinions on things, I want to encourage everyone to do what they want. If you have a passion in life, do that. If you have an idea for something you want to do, act on it. As long as it's good, not illegal or anything, as long as it's like progress and like productive to some extent. Even if people in your family don't think that it's worth doing, pursuing